Kunye no gelugo.
It is time.
It's time.
It is time.
It's the Money Show.
The Money Show.
The Money Show.
The Money Show.
Makodem Mandi Ibu. Let the conversation begin.
Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. You're welcome to the Money Show. Makodem Mandi Ibu, that's what it means. And it's a pleasure to have you here on the debut of this show. We are about to have a great time. Let me start with introducing myself. My name is Chuka. Anybody here who is an Igbo person understands what it means to gather as Igbo people. Whenever we gather like this, we speak both English and Igbo, so I'm going to be switching between the two. All right? Anya Putago, Eba Kornem. Thank you for joining us. All right, Kaiganiru, let me just start with introducing this show. I'm going to do it over and over again, just for everybody to get accustomed to this. Money Show, or the Money is an acronym for Makodem Mandi Ibu, and it's a talk show on Twitter Space. Money is a conversation for progressive Igbos, where we come to rub minds, share ideas, and find viable solutions to our collective challenges. It's a civil conversation. If I know solution, that's what this is about. All right? Okay, let's move on. Please, if you're on this space and you would like to join this conversation, please request the mic so we can bring you on, so that when the conversation progresses, you will come in and bring your views to what's happening to this conversation. This conversation is going to be interesting, broad, whatever you can call it. I want to just let you guys know that this is going to be streamed on YouTube and on Facebook as we're talking. So if you know anybody who is not on Twitter who would like to join, they can join from Facebook or they can join from YouTube on our platforms. Kunye Media everywhere. On YouTube is Kunye Media, as in youtube.com/Kunye Media. And on Facebook is facebook.com/Kunye Media Official. That's the difference. All right, Kaiganiru, this conversation is going to be civil. It's going to have some rules, some kind of ground rules, so that we can make it interesting, make it snappy, avoid wasting time, avoid any unnecessary drama, any hostility, any toxicity. This is just where we come to have a very constructive and objective conversation. So we have some ground rules here, and these are the ground rules. One, when you come in with the mic, just go straight to the point. Just move straight to the conversation, say what you want to say, and hand over the mic. Second one is stick to the conversation. Don't bring anything that doesn't have to do with the topic. We are focused here on the topic. The third one is mind your language. You can't just say whatever you feel. You can't just say whatever you like. We have to mind what we say to each other. And the fourth one is be respectful. Respect yourself. Respect the audience. Respect the co-hosts. Respect everybody and yourself. That way we can all have mutual respect for each other, so we can have a sane conversation. The last one is avoid a noisy surrounding. Because if there's enough people around you shouting, or there's a lot of music or something so loud around you, you won't be able to make so much sense because we can't hear you clearly. Okay, Adora, introduce yourself and let us know more about how you feel about this space and this debut of our talk show.
Oh yes, I've been too excited. Too excited for the Money Show. Like I heard you explain, Money mean Makodem Mandi Ibu. It's really that short acronym for everything the good for Ndi Ibu. So I've been so excited about this meeting today. The debut basically of our show. I've been too excited, and my name again, Adora. Popularly known as the very honorable Adora on this.
I've never asked this question, but I'm going to ask you publicly. What does the honorable represent?
It's actually something that I've always gone by with my Foundation for Children, which I started since in Nigeria. So it means honorable for children, the Honorable Minister for Children Affairs. Yeah.
Okay, now the context gives me so much meaning. It gives you so much meaning. Now, whenever I call you Honorable Adora, I have a good idea of why I call you Honorable Adora. And meaning is always important,
This is very correct.
Meaning is always important.
This is very correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So thank you once again for the show. Kunye Media, thank you for having all of us. Most of us will keep coming in. I know a lot of people are having network issues in Nigeria.
Yes.
Thank you,
yes.
every single one of you, for
Yes.
being here, and let the show begin. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for coming in. And I want to say hello to Casey and Amaka. Hi, guys. How you doing? You're welcome to the show.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Chuka.
Kunume.
Nokwang. I'm so happy to be here. And also to add, I want to also be called honorable. But I want to be known to be honorable for money affairs, not children affairs. Because
If you got the money, I can't see money.
or better stated, Oriako, honorable Oriako. If you
Oh,
can double it up, I'm okay.
oh, that's okay. That's right. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
we're
thank you,
welcome. Dear.
Dalu.
Yeah. Casey Odogu.
Ọ dị
Na KJ.
ka na-enyezi chieftaincy title here because nke
Baba, okay, fine.
biko chọnụrụ m ofu biko nụ. Yeah, my people, well done. Ana m ekene onye ọbụla. It's good to have this gathering. Can you know, let's discuss, talk about ọganiru ndị be anyị, share ideas and conversations. It's always good. So I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to contribute. So let's go on.
All right, because I know that some of you here are listening, and Nana wonders, can if India and Medeba can Igbo here? Let me just make it clear: we don't speak only. It's not exclusively Igbo, and it's not exclusively English. If I remember in our communication, if I know English Igbo, because when they Namara Igbo, father and Igbo from so if you know cook a water. Secondly, on if you men Igbo. This is the one keta if ever Wi-Fi, I'm going with Igbo. This is the one if ever AI, I'm going with Igbo. So Wi-Fi. So we can't avoid it. If you really want to have a meaningful, broad conversation, you somehow unless meet you if basalo buying in the village. If go a broader perspective, a broader situation like Igbo. We got Igbo n'ime nke ọzọ bụkwa na ọ bụrụ onye ọbụla gị na-agakpa nkata ma asụ Igbo ọfụma. So if we can go onye ahụ efe niile n'Igbo ọ bịazi okwu nke otinye oyibo some places, so maybe gbalụọ ife na-achọ ime. One day I ga-eme one challenge here na onye ọbụla ga-abatakwu okwu ga-asụ Igbo. Onye mee mistake ọ pụọ onye ọzọ abatakwa. Just for us to have fun with our language. But for today, this is what we're doing, and we'll be mixing it up. If you come on the speaker's corner and you want to speak in Igbo, fine. If you want to speak in English, be connected to Igbo here and there. On a make on our so. You got to go. This is just what it is.
Yes.
Right. So I have introduced.
Mary White one, Mama for Mary White one them. The doctor herself. Because Bagote no, it's all
yes,
like Igbo ndi America gya when that's right.
Mary no. Ikukuoma, the chief. Anytime I see that name, it means the day you will grab the mic to speak here, you're going to tell me what it means from your own perspective, because I believe there's depth to what you call yourself and why you call yourself or you present yourself in that manner. It's a form of branding from Igbo, from what I perceive, and I love it. I love it so much. Ndewo, you're welcome here, and every other person here, thank you for being the first set of people to come into this space and into the show to join us on the conversation. And we're going to have a spell time. We're going to have a great time here. That is for sure. But like I said, Biko, retweet this space, tweet this space, post this space, share it in your DMs, share it on your WhatsApp, share it on your Facebook, wherever you can. Share this. Let everybody know that Umu Igbo na Pankata. Not just that. One day I do know, and you know, because if I know where now, we're not talking about anything broad. I know Africa or Iran, now Israel. If I know it's high time we have that conversation, right? That's why we're here. Adora, I have already introduced the ground rules, and maybe at some point in the conversation, you can as well introduce it again. But I think we should just dive in, right? Let's go.
Yes, please. Let's
take
it away.
All right.
Ground rules. We're not abroad to be respectful, and pour your heart out. That's really it.
Yes.
Again,
yes.
MONI.
Yes.
Maka ọdịmma ndị Igbo. Ngwa, let's take it away.
Yes. All right. So our topic today, what we're discussing today, is about our identity, and that's why we tagged it Imakwa Onye Ibu. That was intentional. It's a question of identity. We have to be able to ask ourselves that question repeatedly. I know that there's a renaissance going on now. Everybody's thinking about it, saying something about it. Abu Onye Ibu, Ibu Amaka, Ibu Belu Gobelo, Kesi Beyebena. And all that. But the question is, who are you as an Igbo? Do you know who you are as an Igbo person? Just being Igbo. Do you know what it means to be Igbo? Do you represent Igbo in the actual original identity of the Igbos? Can you explain or describe an Igbo person when you are asked? Beyond that, how do you even know? Beyond you, how do you recognize an Igbo person? Can you even expect from Onye Igbo? What do you expect from a community where Igbos are gathered or where Igbos live or inhabit? Can you even expect from that place? What is the core? What is the core of our identity? This is extremely important because that's where everything starts from. You know, branding this and branding that. The truth is that everything starts with branding, and branding is perception. And it can only create perception consciously. So the more conscious you are about who you are, as regards your root, where you come from, how you connect to where you come from, the more conscious you are about it, the more you become a brand ambassador of where you come from. The more you can properly represent where you come from. The more you are selling where you come from, the more you are adding extra social value to where you come from. And that's why that question is important. Beyond that, it also plays into the way you do everything you do. You are thinking about it. If I'm what does it look like? How do I represent my people the right way? In a way that it feeds into the collective value of the Igbos, right? That's what this is about. And this conversation will have about 3 or more components. One is Kedife Jamoni Igbo. What makes one Igbo? The second one is, what do we believe in? What is it that drives our thinking, our mindset, our thought pattern as in Igbo? Because I'm what I say, Chucha. What is it? What is the core of that belief? The third one is the most important. And that's the biggest question that has been asked a few times in the last 1 year. What do we want as a collective? Everybody will for natural personally. I join up on a space. What do you want? Everybody will for not for natural. But what are we looking for as a collective, as a people? Do we really have an idea of what we want? Do we want the same thing? Is there anything at all that exists that we all want together? These are the most important questions. And this is where we start the conversation. So let me hand it over to Adora. We'll hand it over to Casey, and now Makada will spread it across. Adora, what makes you Igbo? What makes you feel that you are Igbo beyond the fact that your father told you that he gave birth to you with your mom and that they are Igbos? How do you feel your Igbo-ness?
I would say generally, for more, ihe na-eme m je feel na mbụ onye Igbo bụ onwe ya na-akpọ moral. Moral, just the moral, and it can only be ascribed to my being Igbo. What I go, and then another one, seeing opportunities. I just see opportunities, business opportunities, or very lucrative business opportunities in everywhere I look, literally. Where ebe ma batakita ma agwa gị na ihe anyị emenwu ebe a anyị eji we create a business opportunity. No matter how progressive the idea is, there's always a way you see me better. So I'll say na for me, Igbo Onye Igbo, that innate thing inside of me as Onye Igbo. Number one, egwu atụ. Obi onwere na amajam. Gotago. I believe na mbanye na my own yadiliche and not yadiche in a positive way. Secondly, that ability to just see opportunities and anything I can. So that's it for me. That said, Mr. Casey, can you give moral as Onye Igbo?
Nah, question I did not very loaded. All the loaded because I did not identity gonna change depending on environment. You find your way. But in our forma, if we first things first, I'm working on Igbo, Magi na Mpagi bro onye Igbo. Ọ bụrụgo sọsọ Magi or sọsọ Mpagi, inwega identity as onye Igbo first, to begin with. Then from there, ibidozie, okay, kezi ihe ndị Igbo na-eme. What makes you identify really as an Igbo besides, being better as an Igbo? Culture comes into place, Imasụ asụsụ Igbo, in a Sydney Igbo, in a reading Igbo, things like that. Do you dress like us? So, so many other characteristics of our culture, but in Maya Format, then, you become an Igbo. But then it doesn't really mean that you need those things automatically you become an Igbo, because when they are when they make cases Sydney Igbo, but yeah, they're not Igbos. But then in Asia, the part in a we adorable, always something about us, Ndibo. It might be the entrepreneurial mindset, with the fact that we never give up, but there's something really innate about us, Buna. I end there, we see things like Choro, Kaiwambo, work hard, be as progressive as we can to achieve whatever goals I know. So from that perspective, if una inanya collectively ndị Igbo nwee that attitude, ebe ọbụla ịfụ ha industry ọbụla sector ọbụla ha na-agba nnọọ mbọ, they try to achieve beyond their peers. So that level of competitiveness ha nwee, I think what really identifies Igbos collectively.
And just to add to what Casey was saying, yesterday I was listening to Igbo High Life, Oliver the Cook, and this his song Mbiri Kambiri. The song had a length of about 19 minutes. Do you know that from the 12th minute to the 19th minute, he just kept loading praises, calling names, showing that these are people that are industrious. He was calling names of entrepreneurs, many people in those days. So for me, it was just about, this is who we are. We are very industrious people, we are into different trades. And the fact that he could identify different people and sing their praises, right? Then it means, and if you notice songs in those days, like when you're listening to Osadebe, you see towards the end, they start introducing names. And that's what makes me proud. Wherever I am, you see an Igbo person that is very industrious, that's always ready to put in work. So that's just the way we are.
No, but you're right, sir. In Anya, if mostly like ndị Igbo, like something very distinct about us, as a people. Ebe ọbụla ifo nwanyị, anyị na-agba number, and mbọ anyị na-agba na did not recognize. Otu anyị si kwuo na Oliver the Kokwe, Negu on recognize the people. The same, it happens across the board, because I never no reference for Ndidi successful. And then the outcome of it, it makes other people to aim towards it. Konye ọbụla na-achọ nnọọ ka ọ na-agba ka ha na-agba mbọ in one or two ways, dịkwa as successful as ndị ahụ. So it's just there. But yeah, you're right, Amaka.
Like I said, we want this conversation to go deep into who we are beyond how we recognize an Igbo person. You see, this is something that people don't even think about when they move around. But those who think about it show it. Like when you see the way, let me give you one example, Chimamanda. Chimamanda consciously finds a way to weave her identity into conversations she's having anywhere. Either on Solibo or Igbo. Kawazaloge for me in English. That way, she has introduced Igbo to you. Anybody who knows her knows a tribe called Igbo. The same thing with Flavor. In fact, this topic was borrowed from a song by Flavor, Imakwa Onye Ibu. The fact that you are Igbo, there is something bestowed on you naturally that you carry with you, or you carry on you. It's hidden in 3 to 5 characteristics or elements, in my opinion. One of which is your name. If you go to South Africa, or you are in Berlin, or you are in Milan, or you are in Norway, Oslo, or you are in Los Angeles, or you are in Joburg, or you are in Accra, and you hear somebody shout, Emeka, Emeka, or Neka. Once you hear that, mi bonyi Igbo, mi bonyi Hausa, mi bonyi Yoruba, mi bonyi Ibibio, mi bonyi Jo. Once you hear those names and many other names, once you hear that, the first impression you have is that onye a na-akpọ bụ onye Igbo. You can't take it away. Ọ ga-afịarị fụ onye ọcha na-aza Emeka. Unless more na no nwaanyị bụ onye Igbo. Ọtọkazi too much Ozugbo. Bawazi onwe Emeka, but I've never even seen anything like that. So that name is one of the biggest elements of your identity. Second one, in my opinion, is your language. The reason why people are always encouraged. We are always encouraging everybody, learn your language, speak your language as often as you can, especially when you are around your people. Find a way to introduce your language, even to people around you, people that you meet all the time, people that, you know, can relate in Igbo. Mbatana fieba na elife in Lagos or Abuja or anywhere. Mbatana eba na elife. If I sense no nya with people in Igbo, if he's in Gajobo, Igbo mwafo. I'm no bo no onye Yoruba or Hausa or onye Bibio or onye Joga say, huh? Oh, waiting. Okukwana waiting say, no mind me. Go even try go poor. And okukwana no also no. I know you get respond, but no Igbo. I get respond with this pride and a smile on his face, like now. No na bonyi Igbo. Okukwana refa one. And yet we seal a relationship, even if it's a temporary relationship. Something happens. There's a connection that is made because we have identified with ourselves just by manner of speaking our language. The third one to me is culture. And in that culture, you have your fashion, you have the things you eat, you have the way of doing things, the way you walk in your business or whatever, the way you talk, your attitude to things, even the way you celebrate, each birthday party, or each burial, or each celebration, any kind of celebration, or each the way we do events, the way we celebrate, the way we, even the things we wear. Sometimes I'm just kidding. But we have some things that we drop sometimes on our fashion, even if we're wearing something that is foreign, that shows you that. But the most important, the suspicion is there. That's part of our identity. But then we've got other things that you can also look at, like our values, our value system, and maybe our core beliefs. Only Fendi will believe in so strong that you can't take it away from them, no matter what you do. For instance, naturally, only will told in a normal way. I grow from Obele, told with normal parents, raised normally, cannot stand on the road now. That's why whenever I see it happening, only because it's not part of us. The only time it happened was during the war. Because we believe in ourselves so much, and we always find a way against all odds. We've done it repeatedly for more than 54 years. These are my own submission as regards who we are and how we are identified. Our value, another part, but I don't want to go into that because I don't want to hog the mic. I'm just waiting for us to come on, for some of us to come on board. If you would like to join this conversation, please request the mic, or I might invite you.
Can't you go to it's not either you're Euro, you're at all, because I know you're on Twitter.
But if I have a refund, honestly, I'm very offended.
If I na when you see an Igbo person na you man if maybe because something has gone wrong. That's what I'm saying. Because I grew up hearing this thing all the time. I heard it so many times. Even after the war. Come on, Igbo gonna Oji cholo, all the very difficult. All no much dignity in the public's eyes. Or well, I may put something out of it. Can I money be see ko me give one day if you put ego. Oji de ego. Or continue to upgrade is there to another level. And we get in so many fields. But come on, guy, okay, come on, boy. I had you. Then I na Twitter on your family. That's why we're asking that question. Imakwa Onye Ibu. I'm not saying that you can't make a request. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying that I go
Ewo, odika ndị body law na go through ka network. Is it the same thing at your end, Casey?
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same. But I what I'm here Chukanakawa, and he's very much correct. And the buyer that how you go do? It's more like a means to an end. Wikibukwa ndị na-agba mbọ ịghọta achọ ka onye bụ nke a ka njili nke enyi m chọta nke a. So he's very right. Collectively, ndị be anyị na-agba mbọ anyị na-ayọ otu a. But ọ nwere ihe nchọkwa ikwu. More personally, I believe na identity anyị na-echange no. To some extent, depending on environment mmadụ dị used to. A good example bụ onye Igbo amụ n'Enugu or amụ na Anambra n'Imo State. Ọ na-adịkwa different from onye Igbo amụ na Lagos or somewhere outside Nigeria or Scotland. And where, the identity is there naturally. But then when certain things in terms of the composition of the culture now there, obligate the language, maybe because they're exposed to the language or they're exposed to the food and things like that. There are different aspects now. Like a good example, my wife, Onye Ibu, is but Onye Ibu, but she grew up in Lagos. I find when it comes to certain things, Oman, Nindi Igbo, she cooks Igbo food and things like that. But this thing I find about her, they're very, very close to the fact that she grew up in Lagos. The fact that she grew up in Lagos, some of our friends, but Lagosians and things like that. Yoruba movies, all love Yoruba movies so much. If we are not sometimes on no, they enjoy the movies and things like that. So there are certain things about her, identity, even while she's fully an Igbo person, but she also identifies culturally with other cultures too, just because of exposure on way. What I think,
I agree with you completely. Environment influences our behaviors and our beliefs and our attitude more than we know. Beyond DNA, beyond your roots, Onye Igbo, je ugwu Hausa, nụọ ya, unu amụta ụmụaka, zụọ ụmụaka n'ugwu Hausa, tinyefa na school, public school, ebe fa na-eso ụmụaka egwu, ebe a na-asụ Hausa na school. And not just that, if you don't speak Igbo in the home, that's Igbo. There's a likelihood that nwa nwa ga-eto na-eme ka onye Hausa, na-echuche ka onye Hausa. Unless you took your time to instill the values of Igbo in. But again, there is so much hidden in the language. The day I learned this thing, it changed my perspective about language. There is something hidden in the language. See, when you speak a language regularly, the language influences your outlook of life. Generally. That is why if we have so many languages, we have a broad perspective about things. We are very accommodating of people and are good socialites because they find it easy to connect with almost everything around them. When we have only one language sticks to that area, maybe at all. Don't spoil it for me. Do you understand? So I agree with you. Nurture can affect this, but in a normal situation, it's not like that. And this is the reason why we need to get to that point where everybody has it in mind, regardless of where you are based, regardless of the country where you're based. You create the environment that suits the raising of your children in the manner of the Igbos, or in the way of the Igbos, or raising them to appreciate where they come from. What surprises me the most is that I have seen more of white women who got married to an Igbo man do it so much, that they do it with so much passion. I have my friend, Nicole. She goes to the extreme about it. I don't want them to miss anything about their identity. I remind them every day, you're a German, but you are an Igbo German. Don't forget where your father comes from. That is your true identity. That is your root. And Hannah be Nigeria every December, no, 3 weeks or so. Gwegwu n'aja. Ọbụkwa nke a ga-aba na n'ime ụlọ na-asị na chọrọ ka ebe bute ọya. Ha ga na-agbagharị n'aja na-egwu egwu. Soro ụmụaka ndị ọzọ na-egwu egwu. Asị na onye ọcha. Soro onye ọbụla na-egwu egwu. Nye nwa onwe ya na-akwụ ụmụaka n'azụ. Just to show the kids, this is what your culture looks like. And I find it amazing. I find it fascinating. Maybe because they were raised to understand the importance of culture. Maybe. So we can do, if they can do that, then we can do much more. I'm Igbo. You know, so yeah, I think that environment can play a big role, but what matters most is what happens in the home. In the home. Even if you're married to a foreigner, or you're married to someone that is not Igbo, someone from another tribe, it doesn't stop you. Really, if it's your make again, it doesn't stop you. In fact, I'm knowing you from another place. I'm both languages very, very well. Because a child can learn 3 languages at the age of 3, 5. They can learn 4 languages, even 5. Because I'm going to about iPod or Bulaba or inflation. What help us ha na-eme nke ha bụ akwadosia school enye ha dia lunch box bunye ihe na jebere onwe ha school agbasa akwụkwọ ebunata ha n'ụlọ erie nri eife gbuo egwu abanye lofe rie nri abanye na akpụla nwere ife gbasafa TV they watch at TV open internet if you use internet so they don't have time to think of other things that can encumber your mind or distract you know these beliefs. So if we believe let's even start with that. What are our beliefs really? Please, before the next person speaks, I just want to say this. Again, welcome to the MONI Show. This is a talk show on Twitter Space where we have civil conversations, where we gather and rub minds and share ideas and find solutions to our collective challenges as Ndibo. And we are live streaming on other platforms like YouTube and Facebook, and we'll be doing this every Saturday, same time, 8 p.m., possibly 2 hours conversation, where we just focus on solutions. We look into issues and share ideas about it, find solutions and take something out of it. And also have fun while we're doing that. So if you want to join this conversation, please request the mic and bring your thoughts on board so we can hear you and do something with your thoughts. Thank you for coming on board. So Casey.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to add quickly to what you just said. It doesn't really matter. Ideas my common language. So in high trouble ideas, can you just not bankata? Let's understand ourselves. Let's speak to our issues and our problems, and then, learn, because knowledge is not very important as well. So it's a matter of can you gather as a space for us on your border. Doesn't matter because the neighbor, some of us know Nigeria, some know different places all over the world. Some on your own are in different environments, maybe either difficult or easy to identify more with the cultural aspect of who we are. So it's just an open spot for everybody. It doesn't matter. Share those ideas. All my colleagues in Denmark are they very much interested to Igbo cultures based on stories in Ngwago. So it doesn't really matter. Well, let's just, again, any ideas, you have stories to tell, come up, the mic will be passed on to you, and let's interact.
Okay, Nelo, you're welcome to the MONI Show. Thank you for coming on. I would like to pull you up to the co-host space or corner. Dora, as well, I'm sending you co-host so you can come in and let's take it from there. Okay, Daniel, you have the mic.
Good evening, host. Can you hear me? Or what I will contribute here is that for me, let's not look at this identity of Igbo from the contemporary times. Instead, let's look at who we are traditionally and culturally. If we're peace-loving people. Yes, I know in our part of the world we were a bit primitive, but I think history has proven that even with the arrival of the white man, that they met democracy. The only place they met democracy in Africa is Igbo land. I think I don't know, but at least to an extent. This Egbebere Ugobere, Kesiri Ibeyebe na Nkukwaya, and the idea of Ora, Igwe, Ora Bike, you understand? So that shows that we are respectful. We accommodate one another. we support one another. We are a people who are development driven, and we are community driven. Which is why n'ala Igbo enwere eze ife enwere bụ nze na ọzọ, maka na ọ na-abụ ife mee asị ọrụ obodo onye ọbụla pụta n'ilo onye ọbụla eme ka contribution ma iso n'ife a na-eme ma na iso n'ife a na-eme. So we have the tendency of listening to everybody, and that is what made us unique as a people. So when you're talking about the Igbo people, you're talking about the people who love, who share collective identity of Onyaya na nwanne ya. You understand? Identity of yes, Onyaya na nwanne ya, and there's another one I'm forgetting now, which I'm supposed to say. Maybe I'll call it later. And then this identity pushed us to fight the white man because we don't like oppression. And not just fighting the white man, the same identity enabled our people to challenge the status quo, to challenge the system that existed over times. It's also the same identity that pushed our people to even drown themselves in the Atlantic Ocean, because they felt like, no, this is not life. If we cannot liberate ourselves, we perish. Yeah, it is the same identity that drive the likes of Olaode Equiano, the likes of Jaja of Mwobo, to also become activists and liberators. The same identity that inspired late Nnamdi Azikiwe to, instead of pursuing his career and maybe making names for himself by maybe becoming something else in America, in the UK, decided to pursue the independence of Nigeria. So I think that is a great identity that I want to associate with, that looks beyond resources, that looks beyond wealth or fame, instead of identity of collectiveness, identity of unity, identity of support. We are a people who believe in we the people and not myself. And it is the same identity that shaped us, even though even in the early 1990s, before independence, we were lagging behind. But over time, we picked up, and we picked up very, very fast, to the extent that Western education was not really a thing in the Southeast. It started in the Southwest. But over time, we used the concept of we the people to spin up fast educational engagement, getting people from communities, crowdfunding and supporting them to go to school, to learn Western education, and use that knowledge to contribute to the development of their people. It is the same identity that enabled Ndi Igbo, just a little over independence, or at the time of independence, to have leading academicians in University of Ibadan, University of Lagos, and Nnamdi Azikiwe.
Daniel Wama, thank you.
All right, okay. So, and the same identity that inspired the likes of Michael Okpara to embark on a great initiative, development stride that we've never seen before on the continent, to the extent that Southeast Nigeria or Eastern Nigeria was the fastest growing economy in the world. Like, if it was to be a country at the time, it was supposed to be the fastest growing economy in the world. So for me, I think that's a great identity. We the people, we also tend to protect the vulnerable amongst us. And we are very respectful and peace-loving. On this note, I yield.
All right. Thank you, Daniel. Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here. I had to, because this is our maiden edition, and I just didn't want to miss it for the world. Hello, Chuka. Hello, Adora. Namaka, good to see you up here. And Casey, NG, Mary White, and all my beautiful brothers and sisters here. Daniel, that was a very lovely submission, and but I just couldn't help but wonder, this we the people ideology, have we lost it? I mean, today's Igbo people, have we lost it? Because, when I see what's happening in the southeast, compared to other region, I wonder if we've lost it. I don't know if anybody can help me here. Yeah, I don't know if anyone wants to take this my question up. We the people ideology, have we today Igbo people, have we lost it?
Good question. Good question. Thank you so much, Daniel, for this beautiful submission. Please hold the mic. You will come back at some point. Did you hear Nelo's question?
Yeah, I heard Nelo's question.
Okay.
She was saying, revolving around we the people, and we lost that identity. I do not think we have lost the identity of we the people. I think the only thing that has happened to us is that we have maybe there's an influence of Western civilization, and it is impacting everybody across the world. So it's not just the Igbo people. So we are losing a bit of our identity, but it is still there. Today, we still have a whole lot of collective projects happening in our Igbo. We still have a lot of support being given to the downtrodden and also the vulnerable. But I think that we tend to do this in silos, which is maybe kindred-based, community-based, but we need to scale it on the larger, more like on the larger scale. Larger scale here means like, for us, Ndi Igbo, are we really doing this? But deep down in our communities, we do this, but coming together as Ndi Igbo, as one, we've not been able to drive that agenda of we the people. And for me, that is the biggest challenge we are facing today. And we must find a way to address it. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right, Chuka, the mic. You can have the mic. Actually, me now, I think I asked about go too much Oyibo here. To be fair, I'm actually as in, I'm as in, okay, I can now sing the Igbo, okay, so, and hopefully, the more I get out, as in everybody come up, me masu Igbo, me marasi Igbo, biaso nke masu, so because the more you practice, the better you're gonna get at it. So yeah.
Yes. I think one of the reasons why we struggle to speak Igbo very well, we don't have conversations that are very deep a lot anymore. Because I say I call now, if I'm in a family, if I'm our mutual friend, all the very easy for us to I cook for 2 hours. Igbo. When I say I get into conversation, the very meaningful and rich about technicalities, about technical stuff, development, governance, because we're not used to it. So we don't know the language to that extent. We don't know the tenses. We don't know the vocabularies. Only vocabularies may exist in Igbo. It exists because it's only what you use that you are aware of. Regardless, this language we're using, the functionality needs to be upgraded. And that will be our next conversation next week. I got to say to Sakuruma or to like a Musi. I get any of them because this language needs a lot of work. So I understand. I can talk in Igbo for as long as you need me to. but most people don't ma jela
I
and
think
that's
I
you like that.
again I think Chuka, oh it, lack of self-confidence, because if I now most times, because you feel like Imara Ima, and then Iswa, maybe people got Achigochi or something like that,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
decide to say
yeah.
Ima there at all. But
Is
the
you
thing is, all affect the inside, and one thing
is
I've
you
realized is that the more he is in our studio, the better you, as in words, Imara, that you've taken in, just maybe from listening to your parents, or um from Inanu the Majinasu, they are inside of you, they want to come out, but you have to give them an avenue. So on this
yes.
case, if I get maybe that we are going to drop shame, me as in
Oh
I'm
yes,
president of
100%.
Ingribo, Amaro Masu and all of that. So I got drop shame to one side. Biata Hirionu, Biaswaya, Eto Buni Masia. There's no judgment zone here. So let's just put that out here. All right, back to you.
I love that. I love that. Okay, there's a risk here. The risk is that if we're not careful, we're going to dive into this conversation and go into some and leave what we are here for. So let me redirect us to where we are. The topic of this conversation is Imakwa Onye Ibu. Do you really know who you are? While you're saying Igbo Amaka, Abụ m onye Igbo, Igbo bụ ike, onye agha na nwanne ya, and all that, do you really understand what it means to be Igbo? How deep do you understand what it means to be Igbo? How much do you carry it around? How much do you project it? How much do you present it? How proud are you about it? How do you represent your people in every particular place you find yourself, in any situation you find yourself? That's what we're discussing here. What are these things that you're looking for? That's one phase of it. The other one is, what do we believe in? The third one is the last one. What are we looking for? What do we want? Let's just move this microphone to Anna Professor. What's your perspective to this conversation? Uche.
Ndewo daalụ rinne, akpọkwa m nri n'ọnụ. Ndị be anyị ekene m. Na mgbe ana m ekene onye ọbụla nọ ebe a, na-asị na ọ ga-adịrị unu niile na mma. Ife gbasara ndị Igbo na ife eji mara Igbo na ife eji bụrụ Igbo. O riri nne, o sikwere n'ike. Mgbe ụfọdụ ọ na-abụ nne-eche ụfọdụ ihe na-eme anyị na ihe mebiri anyị na ihe ka ihe eme anyị. Nke agwụcha m, ọ na-agwụ m ike mgbe ụfọdụ. Ọ na-agwụ m ike maka na ọ na-agwụ mfe ọ na-agba anya mmiri maọbụ mfe ọ na-eche m otu uche. Ọ mgbe m ka nọ na yunivasiti ka m na-adị enwe nnukwu mwute. Ya mgbe m masị gị when I was younger, ka ọ na-abụ m na-afụ ụfọdụ ihe na-eme ọ na-ewute m ime. Ọ na-agbawa m nke bụ na na-ajụ oke ajụjụ, mana kịta ọ dịrị ọzọ etu ahụ, mana ka o si na dị. Ajụjụ anwa bụ onye Imakwa Onye Ibu. Adịrọ m sure na ọtụtụ ndị Igbo na-ajụ ya onwe ha. Enwere ife nkwu oge gara aga, oge m na-akọwa identity. Enwere enyi m nwoke nọ na Germany. So mụ na ya gụrụ akwụkwọ na mahadum isi before ọ gawa Germany. O wee fụnye ịmago ọ na-efolo m na-afụ ihe m na-ede gbasara ihe ndị Igbo mago wee dịba interested. Nyanwa amụrụ ya na Igbo, toro na Igbo dịka mụ, mana ọ bịa nwewe interest based off ihe ọ fụrụ m na-ede. Nyanwa a na-edekwa ọ nwere ihe ọ dịrọ interested, but ọ dị conscious na ọ bụ onye Igbo. O nwere ofu okwu ọ gwara m one day iji wee malụ identity, conscious identity is very important. Iji wee malụ na ihe anyị na-akpa maka ya kịta ọ bara uru. Anyị ebe anyị kwesịrị ịghọta ya. Ọ sị m na ọ gara club na Germany. wee ịmago a na-eme na-aṅụ mmanya na-agba egwu na-eme ịmago na-emegasị all those things. Nyanwa wee be careful ka ọ ghara ịṅụfe nke mmanya oke. Ka o si etinye ọsị that na ọjọọ so nnọọ make sure na ọ ṅụfere mmanya oke. The reason why o ji wee mee ife a bụ ka a ghara ịsị na at the end of the day nyanwa mee ofu ihe echi niile asị na onye Igbo mere mkpọba afa then apụta ede online na ndị Igbo na-emebi afa. Ife a kwesịrị ekwu enwe kwesịrị kọwaa the thing mana o kwuru ya sị egwuregwu mana okwu ahụ okwu bara n'ime ọ bara n'ime ọfụma maka na abịa mmecha anya bụ okwu anya wee fụ that na ma ọ bụrụ na mmadụ mara onye ọ bụ ịmara onye Igbo asị onye Igbo enwere ọtụtụ ife ị gara eme enwere ọtụtụ ife ị ga na-eme enwere ike ị ga na-esi na-akwụwa aka gị ọtọ enwere ike ị ga na-esi na-eme maka na ị ga-ama that na ịdịre represent onwe gị sọsọ ị na-represent entire nation ị na-represent your state of origin ị na-represent your town represent the great.
What he's saying is very important, so I'm patient. Uche, Obona in a challenges. We're waiting for you. When you come back, you'll continue. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear. Go ahead.
Enwere ọtụtụ ife ịma mme, enwere ọtụtụ ife ịma nkwu, enwere ọtụtụ ebe ịga aga. Oge a na-asị na ndị unknown gọọmenti bịara n'ala Igbo na-emebisi ihe, na-egbu ndị be anyị, na-ejidesi ndị be anyị. Ọtụtụ ndị be anyị na ama argument ụfọdụ ekwetara na onye Igbo ga-emenwe ụdị ihe dị etu anwa. Enwere nke onye abịa isi na onye Igbo melụ kịta na-asị gị ndị Igbo ga-emenwe mana enwere nke bịa or awareness of their identity. Ọ bụ ihe a bụ ihe ife a bụ ife na-enye nsogbu. Ihe a bụ ife na-ebute nsogbu n'ebe ụmụ aka Igbo nọ ọkachasị n'oge a agbara ọfụrụ anyị nọ na ya. Let me round up, please. Let me round up. So this identity na this question gbadoro ụkwụ na Imakwa Onye Ibu bụ ife anyị kwesịrị ịtọ ntọala biko advocacy gbanyụọ mic gị kpaa anya bụ nkata ọfụma wee strategize aka a ga-esi wee activate a campaign of consciousness maka na ọ bụrụ na ndị be anyị onye Igbo mata na ọ bụ onye Igbo enwere ife ọma mme nwee ife ọma eme. Ọ bụrụ na ịmata na Igbo onye Igbo wee kwanyere onwe gị ugwu, kwanyere Igbo ugwu, kwanyere ebe isi abịa ugwu. Ọ bụrụ na ị nwe shame, i respect kwanyere ebe isi wee pụta ugwu. Enwere ụdị ife ọ ga-awọpụta etu a ma mkpọnye afa gị maka gịnị ịmara na afa gị dịrị na ya na ọ ga-bring shame to the place isi abịa. So identity awareness, it is very, very critical. Mana ọ bịara dizie ka enwere onye na-ekwunya bụ ife na ala Igbo. Leadership aghasasị. A na-ekwe leadership a most of us na-eche na politics. Most of us na-eche na ndị emere elect. Leadership is at all level. And ka anyị na-akpakwa ụmụ ihe nkata niile, anyị ga-adị very, very, very strategic enough to articulate all the points clearly. Maka na ịkpọta onye Igbo kịta si ya kedu ihe bụ nsogbu ndị Igbo, ọkọrọ gaa n'elu ọkọrọ gaa n'anị, ịkpọta another person ọkọrọ gbado anị ịmago a ga-enwe different divergent opinions. Nya mere o ji ghasasịa the same thing ọ ga-abụ ịkpọta ndị Igbo kịta jụọ fa kedu problem ha nwere na Nigeria. Asị gị marginalization isifa ngwa streamline onye bụ marginalization in specifics kpọọ okwu afa name ọfa imago tinye in summary, tinye in evaluate ya name ya and all of that. Ị ga-afụ onye ata Taliban. So I ga-enwe a clear, articulated argument on each of these problems or challenges I have, or they consistent. Onye ọbụla ga na-afụ ya, onye ọbụla nụrụ maka ya, amalụ a source of problem. Then it be articulate what was solving it. I mean, I will have to stop here. Can Uche,
dalu so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming on this space. It's beautiful to see you here. You're welcome to the MONI Show. The MONI Show, Imakwa Onye Ibu. MONI, MONI, is just an acronym. Obro maka ego, maka odimma ndị Igbo. Mana ikpo yetu aka we so nanti. So I gonna eme na Twitter space, even though it's a talk show, and I gonna eme every Saturday, the same time from 8 p.m. Emeluo ya 10. Ọ bụ na ọnwa efe dịka aka ya touch ya obele. Anyị move ga yiru. Otu aka ọ ga-esi na-adị. And ọ bụ na ị na-ebe anụnwa biko gwa onye ọbụla ịma bụ onye Igbo na ya dị unu n'ọfịs unu ụmụnne gị onye ọbụla ịma bụ onye Igbo just tụnyelụ faalụ fabata sola iwe na-ekwu okwu a. Ọ bụ na Fabia nwụrụ today, Fabia next time, invite people next time. Ọ bụ na Fama bata nwụna nke a ka anyị gbasoo okwu a. This conversation is for all of us bụ ndị Igbo chọrọ ọganiru. Nwere ife ọzọ anyị na-achọ na abụrụ ọganiru. Or I get me and you together. That's what this is about. I now live stream this space on YouTube and Facebook. That's what I see them oge when I gather like this. Go well gbasa ofuma. Onwe oge lo banyekwu other places. Daalụ no.
Uche, I just wanted to say thank you so much for that contribution. If Uche could, that really hits me. And Achom Koga like that, And let each and every one of us know here, you just have to have this Imakwa Onye Ibu. Your Igbo identity should be reflected in everything you do. Because I feel if they're very conscious of this Igbo identity before, like whatever field you go into, you want to stand out because you are representing a whole tribe. So anything in MN, you can't be mediocre in it. So I just want everybody here to really, for that to actually sink in. Like, I don't know, it really hits me in a way, and I just want everyone to also take it on, Imakwa Onye Ibu. So, ebe anyị na-azụ afịa, ebe anyị na-arụ ọrụ, if you're a music producer, if you're an artist, whatever you are, make sure that your Igbo identity stays true. Make sure that you come correct. Make sure that you come with your best. Because I am Igbo. I am Maro. We don't identify with mediocrity. Okay, advocacy, back to you. Sorry.
Okay, good evening, everybody. All right, my name is Mr. Umadi, actually. Afambu Umadi. Thank you so much. This you have a program, Malezboma, and I've been listening very patiently. I won't want to repeat what Eyan could go before. When I know our identity, again, this topic, I was so impressed because I feel that our identity, we are losing it to a large extent. And one of the most important aspects of our identity in a lose is seriously about our language. Our language is one of our most important identity. Afambu Umadi that I'm answering, people that know me, they know me as Sonny or Sunday. But I grew up, I had to go to court. I changed my name. Umadi actually is a name my father gave me, but Sonny took over my name because of we are trying to, answer English. Okay, so please, I'm a Christian. Don't think I'm saying that Sunday is a bad name. I'm even a pastor for that matter. So, but I believe that our language and then our name is very important. Afage, Afa, as in Eze Afa Kego. And that Eze Afa, I also believe in the name you answer. Very important. So our language is one of the most important aspects of our identity. Ebim na Igbo, but it will shock you. Na meje meru ndị amụrụ na Igbo. The two parents bụ ndị Igbo. Mana na emere Igbo lesson. As in na Igbo ka na agwa gị fa. so many people, so many elites na Igbo, umufada anu Igbo. It is, I'm telling you what I noticed. And so it is something that we need to take very seriously. I'm be conscious about it. And I'm going to a solution. I'm going to na my house. Etili iwu na bem, onwere ya na-asụ oyibo na bem. Emelu m ya ọ bụrụ iwu, ọ bụrụ a law. Because I'm noticing that na mbịa imogono film na fa ga-amụta. Mana I'm noticing na fa ga-amụta, so ntize nya bụ iwu maka ebi m na Igbo. Si na iwu riri bụ na sọọsọ Igbo ka ga na-asụ bem. That one could work because my wife bụ onye Igbo also. So our language is part of our very important identity. And I need to hold there very dearly. Okay, so, and then language also name. Yes, ọ bụrụ na ị ga-aza nwa afọ Igbo ọ dị mma, bụrụkwa na onwe ifemela afọ Oyibo, nwekwe anything dị wrong. In fact, achọbụrụ m ịba ụmụ m afọ Oyibo, not my wife. Achọrọ m ịba ụmụ m niile afọ Igbo throughout. Na nwunye m sịrị mba, na onwe ka ọ dị, because asị m ya na onye ọcha adaza Emeka, just like Kunye said, ife onye ọcha na-aza Emeka ọ dị strange. Ife onye ọcha na-aza Ekene, ị ga-asị kedu ụdị onye ọcha. So, and na m zara afọ onye ọcha doesn't make me a better Christian. Okay, so afad very important. Our language is very important. Then another thing on identity on Adi, after the war, I've been trying to correct this impression. You know, Igbos love themselves. One thing eji malu ndị Igbo, anyị fụrụ onwe anyị n'anya and anyị na-enyere onwe anyị aka. So there is a narrative. I don't know whether that narrative, how it came, but people are saying that we don't love ourselves, always trying to bring narrative. Okay, even during this election, they tried to say, God from Igbo politicians, they were the ones fighting P2B and all of that. And I keep telling them, I said, Muhammad Buhari, Yaradua, the former president, they are from the same Katsina, they are the same Fulani, and this man, Nyanya Zore Ochichi, and Buhari took him to court, to the Supreme Court. So I keep telling them, but it's not true. Igbo people, I always tell people, anywhere in Jelo, I travel a lot, you know, within Nigeria. I've been to about 34 states and about 32 states rather. And just some of them now 1 week, some of them now severally. So I've interacted. So I will always find Igbo community. And how they become, and how they make hon, and they will always be together. So we is an identity that we have, no matter how they try to suppress it, or an identity that we have that I would like us to uphold in your and that is what Igbo people are known for. The third one I will say, then I'll stop for now, is Ndi Igbo. I am Ndi Igbo. I am democratic. It was difficult for them to have that kind of feudal leadership because I were decentralized. I was one of the best system of government, and I keep saying it. If this democratic way of living, exactly like we are before, Billy can Billy. Only believe democracy, only you know, and I'm asking Igbo come on before Igbo or just Buluena. So I am very, very democratic in nature or Republican in nature, however it or equal, and is our identity. Or anything. So it's our identity. We are very democratic people, and it's an identity that would like us, you know, to uphold and to work on. Okay,
Ndewo, Sonny, Umadi, Ikwulu ọfụma okwu ga maka Imakwa Onye Ibu. What is our identity? Ebe a ka anyị nọ since. Ọnwa ajụjụ nchọrọ ịjụ that will take us to another dimension of this conversation. What we're looking for as a people is part of our identity. And I want us to explore that if it's possible. Can anybody here bring a perspective to that? What do you think Igbos are looking for as a collective. Kerifa Another person brought it up in a very nice way, as if no man ever back, and that felt so good. So I will leave this thought to you. Request the mic and join and give us your opinion. I'll hand over to Adora. Adora, Ganiru.
So Badra, I've been listening to everyone. Oh, no kuanwa ikanonia. What is our identity? Kedendi Igbo as Ndi Igbo. And that's what we kuku before. Fondi kana bata kam kuku again. In the most local way only as we will understand there. Ihe na gwam na mbụ onye Igbo. The most important thing na gwam na mbụ onye Igbo bụ my moral. My moral as a mmadụ godi. Ebe a ibe m na-atụ egwu ije. Mụnwa nwee ofu iyi ama m otu a ga-esigbu ya ma masị na ọchịmo or something. Na-akụrụ m ịgba. Na-asị m jee na nke gị ya dị iche. Jee na nke gị ya dị mma. And it has been that way for me all my life. Notago. So, onya ka isi ka ịgbakọ today. Ka anyị malụ from every other person's perspective. Kedu ihe na-agwa gị na ịbụ onye Igbo? What is that thing inside of you na-agwa gị na ịbụ onye Igbo? So, thank you once again, everyone, for being here. And let the conversation continue. Nelo, over to you, Mandem.
All right, thank you so much. I think, let me assume your submission, always love listening to you, but it's all good. CJ, Ngwa, the mic is yours. CJ, now.
Well,
CJ.
hello?
He's speaking. Yeah, CJ is speaking now. He's speaking.
Oh,
CJ Ganiru.
Okay, I think
Dalo.
This he pronounced this media very well, but it's a very good thing.
Kunye, that's what it's about. Kunye. Kunye. Let's wake up. Let's rise up. That's all.
We are doing a lot. I mean, if I look at the idea, like the main motive of what you are doing, I think it's quite very good. And I would like you to what I would like you to do, it's also related to our topic, is I thought me to this thing no Igbo, so that because this is a covert action. It's not something that's obvious. And that thing is from our identity, which is wealth. Igbo, Diego Mali Igbo. But the problem with that identity is what we are doing with it. After I've gone to different places and I've seen a lot of people, I've met a lot of people. EJ, for example, now EJ US. Ndị now control US today, bụ ndị ji ego. The ethnic group now control US today, bụ ndị ji ego, which are Jews. If you go to if you look at in terms of ethnicity, the entire world are controlled by the Jews. The entire Western world are controlled by the Jews. Why? Because na ha ji ego. Ha ji ego ha na alolo ha olo. Oge ọbụla ya na complain na enwe problem na Nigeria. Nka. But with all those problems, which are very obvious, you need gwagi iye ndị Igbo na-face na Nigeria. There is ilu ha na ọbụ na ịnọ na ibi East, ilu East ịmago na ịnọ na East. No, onwere onye ga-agwa gị at all. Ilu ha na East, changes are there. And anyị nwa bi enwe kasịla ego, adịghị ekwute ndị Igbo bi ego ka eji mara Igbo. But ihe anyị ji ego anyị eme is my major concern. Ide na America now, ndị nwe ego, which are mostly Jews, and also they are not the richest too, but among people, they are in the top positions, which Igbos are. But these people, Diego, are influencing decisions. These people set up lobby groups. Those lobby groups, Diego, are influencing decisions.
I am the politician and myself. How myself bụ ndị ego. And we can use what we have to influence decisions that will be at our own advantage. That is my only major issue na ihe gbasara Igbo, because identity anyị bụ ego. I need to use that identity to our own benefit. To our own benefit. Ije na media now, how many ndị be anyị maji ego na sponsor media? If they don't tell your story, nobody will. Ije outside of Nigeria, ndị a na-ekwu maka ha bụ ndị na control the media. The Jews control media in US, and how till outside bụ ihe ndị mmadụ ga-ama. So I will just just full more of these things. Ogabo I can tell you is a fact. Ndị Igbo decide to cripple Nigerian economy. Onwere ebe Nigeria ji asị. There is like a consensus now. Onye ọbụla close those shop ya. They go Nigeria, like your whole country will crumble. Obulo na say it is a fact. It is a fact. So imagine na anyị na-eji that power anyway. With it, obulo, sometimes I will not say everybody must go to one particular direction. I don't subscribe to that. I will not say everybody should go to that direction, but at least we should have something that can push that agenda. Let people that can do it, and let's promote it. Thank you.
If we really put it very key, we not just about representing our roots. Mado Onye Ibu and Gosi Onye Ibu ebe ọbụla anyị jelu. But another part is to promote ndị Igbo together. Ebe ọbụla ịfụlụ onye Igbo na-eme ife gbasara ndị Igbo. Ife ọbụla sokwa ya bụrụ. As long as not ife ọma gbasara ndị Igbo, it is not an option, it is a responsibility. Ma ọ bụrụ na ịma na Igbo onye Igbo, na ịma ebe ndị Igbo nọ n'obodo a, ịma the situation ndị Igbo nọ n'obodo a, ịma ife anyị niile. It is for your own good. It's in your own best interest that in akwado ife ndị Igbo na-eme. If also kwaya bụrụ. As long as no progress, or bụrụ retrogression, or bụrụ against ndị Igbo, or bụrụ imegbu ndị Igbo ka na-ekwu progress. Ebe ọbụla ịfụrụ ife ọbụla onye Igbo na-eme. This is my culture. And me here for the last maybe 10 years or more. Fụkwana ife onye Igbo na-eme m na-akwado ya. Otu ọbụla m ga-eme tinye aka. Because abụ m onye Igbo. This is one of the other ways, always to represent, to acknowledge na Igbo onye Igbo. Na ịma onye Igbo. I just wanted to drop that. Chika,
I wanted to say something with regards to CJ his submission. CJ, to a large extent, most of the people go Ethiopia. Why is Nigeria not moving forward? Just the thing, Nigeria is a country that they decide to go that I get me to spice the face. So when you think about the conscious efforts to keep Igbo down, yes, I will go, but you need power. If you don't have power to a large extent, which is why most people make so much money. Some people make so much money to get power. You need power in addition to your money. But so when you think about all that you have said, near Nigeria as a whole, and then you now begin to wonder why a country like Nigeria, with all the resources, both human and mineral, we are not moving forward. We are going backwards, all because of that concerted effort, to keep a certain people down, because they probably feel, for whatever reason best known to them, maybe Western influences and all of that. But just have that at the back of your mind, when you think about, when you want to say that, oh, ndi Igbo nwere ego, mana they use the ego in a way to maybe make policies or make a difference. It's just because Nigeria, they decide to go that they would rather cut off their nose, to spite off their face. Thank you. Yeah, Chika, back to you.
I just want to remind us again, I'm trying to drive this conversation to another direction, that we might just touch a little bit before we close. Sorry about that. This question is very difficult, but it is at the heart of our everyday thoughts. If CJ now has something to do with that too. Only open my concerns. But uche si ịjụ onye anwa kedu ife bụ ife na-achọ ọkpọrọ ga-afa ihe ndị a na-eme anyị ihe a na-eme ga-abụrụ ihe ị na-achọ. So I need to ịjụ onwe anyị that question, like we need to really think about it. Kedu ife anyị chọrọ as ndị Igbo collectively, ọ bụrụ ife gị nwa na-achọ na Lagos or ife gị nwa na-achọ na US. Kedu ife anyị bụ ndị Igbo chọrọ? It's part of our identity. It should be seen, it should be felt, it should be heard from us. Kedu ife anyị na-achọ? But in the meantime, let me pass the mic to AA. Nwanne daalụ gaa n'iru.
Nwanne unu anwụ na ma ọrụ ndị ụzọ ụlọ anyị otu anyị asụ unu anwụ chụle onye ọbụla ịma n'ala Igbo na-asụ n'olu so ndewo nọ ihe discussion I'm very happy that na anyị nwa ndị Igbo na-ebido na-discuss maka anyị nwere onye anyị wụ maka na this generation ọgbọ a na-eletukwanụ ihe gbasara Igbo anya maka na Igbo dị omimi because mụnwa na onwe m agụla m akwụkwọ rụọ ọrụ gagharịa obodo niile dị iche iche gụọ history gụọ philosophy and a lot of things, and I see myself as an Igbo man in many things that I do. Even when I engage, I'm a lawyer. Even when I do my lawyering job, when I engage, because there's so much known in the Igbo worldview, but the problem is that it wasn't articulated. Mana, there is no situation if it's why that's in where an Igbo wisdom that has distilled years of thoughts into 2 lines of proverb that has solved that problem. Nothing. There's nothing I've faced in this life I have reasoned that Ndi Igbo nature be nature. It's a deeply, deeply, deeply wise set of worldviews, but unfortunately it was not articulated. So on a that we are beginning to explore Kaiota Onyaewo because na Igbo. So Idromo kedi ihe anyị wo nwere akwụkwọ mmadụ juru ugbu a kedi ihe anyị na-achọ kedi is captured in one thing. There is only one onye ka ihe mere anyị ji wuru ndị Igbo, in my view, is our individualism. Ya we have Igbo enwe eze. Imekwe individualism ụfọdụ ahụ ya na o mean onye ọla akpa nwanne anya ma ọ na-eche nwanne gị. No. It means that the individual has an autonomy to decide what he will become and what his society will become. That is in my view, that is what summarizes everything and encapsulates everything on Igbo. And that one he said in the agbata obi anyị ha bi na Nigeria na ha na ha aghọtacha mgbe ụfọdụ ha ahụ ya na ihe a na-adabachara anyị na ha, but ha ghọta na the thing na onye Igbo ọbụla is, he wants to be self-reliant. He wants to define his future. He wants to take his destiny in his own hands. And he wants to be heard. Onye Igbo achọkwanụ onye Igbo president, the people that will gain list ndị Igbo. What the Igbo man wants is just allow him to contribute, right? He believes that his effort, he trusts his struggle, and that his struggle, but not validation, any other person will liberate him. It is his struggle. First of all, although mbufodo na-emezi anyị ya dịkwa ka mbufodo ịma ka mgbe ọnwe mgbe a na-asị a ga-eme Biafra agaghị eme jụọ ndị Igbo ha sị don't worry ka eme afọ ọkwa enyere anyị 20,000 mbụ anyị amekwa bid back, and I asked them say so because enyere anyị 20 pounds before we survived onye anyị ga-eji anyị mebikwa ihe anyị ebidokwa n'isi again because we trust our struggle mgbe ụfọdụ ihe eme anyị adị our aversion for risk adịka ọ dị reduced because we trust our struggle. Mana ịjụọ m ihe wu ndị Igbo ji wu ihe ọbụla anyị wụ n'ụwa awụ that individualism, what it means wu abịa na ụmụnna ma ebe ọbụla nọ onwe onye ka ụmụnna, no person you can never be stronger than the aggregate of your kinsmen. Ma abịa na ndị Igbo nọ, so onye Igbo ọbụla chọrọ ka he wants to contribute, he just wants to a level playing ground so that onye ọbụla ka onwe ike contribute to society. So you watch ebe ọbụla anyị na-aga. That is why we will take risk in business. That is why we will, onwe onye Igbo na-aza aha na ụmụnna based on ihe nna ya achievement of his father. It's got to be himself. Ma hapụta ugbu a ụfọdụ ndị asị ndị Igbo anaghị akwanyere mmadụ, ndị Igbo adịghị respectful. No. Respect means a different thing to the Igbo man than the other person. First of all, it is earned. It is the fact that you work Kenya, money older person doesn't give you entitlement to respect. So when other people now have respect, they have their head prostrate, all this genuflection, will respect. But for the Igbo man, you've got to earn it based on your achievement in community. And what achievement? It's not necessarily about wealth. It's about how have you impacted your community. Okonkwo was respected in Things Fall Apart because he contributed to his society. So when we say this individualism, no. The average Igbo man is respected. We are the only people now practicing what someone has called stakeholder capitalism. The only group of where a man will come in a society, and start training his own competitors. That's what they call Igbo apprenticeship system. They train his own future competitors, preparing them to cede market share to them. Because what makes you respected? It's not about how much have you contributed in solving problems in society. That's why the Igbo share respect. Only a chosen field in on there. How have you managed to distinguish yourself in that field? And that is what helped us to achieve any achieve in Nigeria. Because when we go back to history of Nigeria, because all the important Ndi Igbo na Nigeria. You need to read the history of Nigeria and understand what our fathers achieved within 30 years that threatened every part of this country. And the work when he was age may achieve now within here in now. Because of that individualism, when I compete, we compete with our siblings, families compete with families, communities will compete with communities, right? When the educationally backward. And Zeke started more with Premier of Eastern Region. I started when we had about grant aid scheme, whereby I see if this community, if you raise money to build a school, the government will match that fund. So if you go to your village now, you see there's hardly any Igbo community, then community secondary school, community university, community primary school, the town union system, if you don't know to go, community are competing with Ibeha. Because we will always want to come together. Because of that, our individualism, we come together. We want to be heard. That's why Nigeria form Igbo Association. Look at how we even on Twitter, we are gravitating towards Imakwa Onye Ibu. We are coming together. Before you know it now, we can pick up a project. Come together and start one thing. Because you want to be heard. You want to be respected. And the way to be respected is to contribute to your community. That is why onye pụtasị ndị Igbo ahụ onwe ha n'anya ka ngwa gị eziokwu onwe ihe na-egbu mmụọ m like when I hear that, because we are a people that everything we have achieved as a people is on the back of cooperation and love. And onye aghala nwanne why is it even Igbo now? Even na business I name. Why is it after sending the winners why motor parts? And then we get as why Yoshi there's always one field, one community will dominate because only what is in one layer. Look, if you read the history of slavery in West Africa, when the slaves were returned in Sierra Leone and in the Gambia, the first socio-cultural organization registered by slaves were slaves of Igbo descent in 1842. Do you know that the first diaspora community to own a property in England were Igbos in 1935? Do you know that? In Liverpool. All Igbos who see men were in Liverpool. They came together. So Igbo Union was registered in the UK in 1935. And by 1940, they bought a property in Liverpool. That property was eventually demolished because they were government development area, and they had to buy another one in 1964. Even before the Caribbean community, even before Igbos, it's who we are. As at 1930s, Igbos had built schools in Kano. In the 1940s and 50s, Igbos had built secondaries. We come together, we contribute, we solve problems. The town union, politics. It's not true. It's just that our way of politics, we don't know absolutism. There's nothing that is absolute in the Ali. Just that we come together, every person contributes. The way I like to explain it to people is that when you go into any house of parliament, no matter how civilized any community is, right? Any society is, now their parliament legislative house now the most animated kind of conversation, even heated argument. Sometimes on like commotion. U.S. Parliament, British Parliament, the U.S. House Congress, and so on. The truth is that every Igbo man is a parliamentarian. That is how we organize the Igbo. Every person comes together. We come together, contribute these decisions. Ultimately, the decision, no person makes decision now. It doesn't mean we don't respect authorities, but the truth is that no person takes decision now. No matter how wise that your decision, it contributes to your journey. Also, the decision must be an aggregation of every person's contribution. It can never be from one person. And we allow the stupid to talk, the fool, the drunk, the mad. Onyara when it's saying Alibo. Unfortunately, but people don't understand this thing. No. Even the most foolish person has a say. Because the way we have been brought up over years, our culture, thousands of years, has made the average Igbo man a parliamentarian in the public space because he's ready to argue, go through the chaos of disagreements to arrive at a decision. When Igbos express this, which is pure democracy actually, other people are saying Igbo, they are uncontrollable, they want to dominate, they don't know politics. No, I don't agree. We have done things when the colonial project started, right? We were disadvantaged in that we didn't live exactly in the coastline, and they meant that for many years it was a transatlantic trade was the engine of growth. So by the time the Ocean take to colonial control of Igbo land was about 1906, they completed that. As at this period, there were nearly 8 to 10 secondary schools in Western Nigeria, some in Southwest, in South. We didn't have any. And Igbo move to all parts of Nigeria because we have become, the colonial project has started. But because of that individualism, the Igbo started, to develop. One of the first schools in Ali Igbo, Methodist College, was built established about 1920s. I would late and everything. But by the time the British were leaving this country, they literally handed Nigeria to the Igbos. That is the truth. The Igbos, in fact, there was a letter Henry Kissinger wrote to President Nixon during the Civil War. He said the Igbos were the backbone of commerce and the civil services. The Igbos are the first. When UI was started in 1948, there were only 2 African Africans who were academic staff. One of them, Onye Ibu, Njoko. The first vice chancellor of the first vice chancellor of UI, Onye Ibu. The first vice chancellor of Unilag, Onye Ibu. The Igbos were in the civil services, in everywhere, because of the way we launched out with energy. That is actually what threatened Nigerians. Let us know who we are. We are individualistic people, and that our individualism doesn't mean that we don't support ourselves. We support, however, I am for one of the problems I when as a people who sometimes we can be a little thoughtless because we do trust our struggle so much. So Asim, I like here, but I just want to let us know that we are a great people, although I know our own challenges that we need to solve. So thank you everyone for what we are doing here. Back to you.
All right. Thank you so much. That was a very brilliant submission. And please stay on because we'd love to hear from you again. Chuka, because I also want to throw it back to your question that you asked before. Ogisi, as Igbo, exploring our identity, Kedify Choro. So I don't know, maybe you want to shed more light on that question or maybe share what you want or what you think we want so that people can understand, that question. Because I feel like that question is so bogus and people are not really doing justice.
Okay. Casey, what do you think? Do you think the question is clear?
I think the question is very, very clear. But in here memorable or question I need the answer individually or collectively. My way collective answer, yeah. But each person not here, only individual answer. That's one. Now the second thing, Buna, honestly, more any different from Hindi or Zocho. Because as humans, generally, on the basic level, on the same thing. Take care of your family, wealth, everyone is happy, just a good life in general. But then in the Nigerian scene, if you bring it back to the Igbos in particular, because I feel when certain things I deserve, I know to be. So as a result of that, our own quest wiki is different. In a good Nigeria as a country, in that context alone, Obro no country, onye obuna decide, hey, Achom Ibu a part of this. Ndi asi Achom Ibu a part, onye asi Achom, then collectively I form Nigeria. Or the British administration decide, oh, Watonya, bring them together, then they become a collective, Bruzier Nigeria. In that sense, a matter of our goals are aligned, our objectives, even as a people, culturally, aligned, then it may not really work. So from that context, in okay, if you're a specific people, that question to you depend on you. If you're somebody, or say in job different as a people, actual political relevance or actual economic development or success. Because so to us now, collectively as a people, we're doing well. In Anyandi we're doing well, we're achieving a lot. Akonoba and all of those things I chose as a people, it's there to some extent. But then politically, what I feel as a people, and I went to bed. So we're still searching for it. So depending on you, people would take that question to some extent. Hana cause about Biafra, Biafra, so on the political context, are different. But I believe that Ndibo, collectively, just the same thing the other people. We want a society that works for us, a society that will be happy. We want to grow as a people. We don't want anything different, but don't get in the way of our success. That's my own take on it.
I love it. I love it so much. I like how you brought it up. Before I give Ago the opportunity to chime into that, let me just throw some light to what I mean by that, or why I asked that question. See, on Abwana Adwaju, Sometimes some questions are thrown at you to just make you think. And the reason why I say that is because sometimes we just look for things, but we're not thinking about what we're looking for. So because of that, if somebody says, "Hey, hi, game now," sorry, I'm maybe if I hope you can. It's confused. But when we pass this question around, bounce it around, onye ọbụla na-ajụ onwe ya ajụjụ. Kedu ife ị chọrọ for ndị Igbo? Ọ bụ na ịma nsọ nke ndị Igbo chọrọ. Kedu ife gị nwa chọrọ for ndị Igbo? When we keep asking that question, onye ọbụla ebido chebe uche about it. Echegide ya. At some point, we will arrive at the same point, at the same place. Then it becomes easier for us to be able to figure out the viable ways I get you where chọba ife afọ anyị na-achọ. Because sometimes, ụzọ esi achọ ife anyị na-achọ gets in the way of ife anyị na-achọ. Mama, if English answer now, mama, declare. Ụzọ esi achọ ife anyị na-achọ, the method, the means by which we're looking for what we want sometimes gets in the way of what we want. And the reason why that happens is because we didn't take time to clearly define what we want and agree. Whether we agree in a group or we agree individually, not a fact, because inside our hearts, and we're all looking for the same thing, but we don't think about it. That's why we easily get things confused. This is the reason why I'm asking that question. So it doesn't mean when I answer I must be right, but at least let it make you reflect. And if you the same question, let that question spread. Let it spread. Thank you. Let's just hear okay, New Niger, Okukene, then Gumwabata, then Felix, or Felix Gumwabata, because when you wake up, Olukwundi Ozo, Dalo, Ngwa okay, Ganiru.
Biko o tebero aka o nwere ebe ọzọ nkata na-agakwa bụ imirikiti ndị be anyị nọkwa n'ime ya. O tebere aka mbata n'ogbo okwu a, mana ife a na-ekwu kemgbe mbata nye m obi aṅụrị. Ajụjụ ajụ bụ kedu ife ndị Igbo chọrọ a ga-abụ ejikọta aka ọnụ kpọọ ndị Igbo, kedu ife unu chọrọ? Onwe onye na-ekwuchitelu mmadụ ncha gabụ okwu ife dị etu a asị na o kwuchitere maka ndị Igbo niile. N'uche m ajụjụ a gbasara obodo anyị bụ Naịjirịa. Ọ bụrụ kedu ife ndị Igbo chọrọ n'ebe ọbụla dị iche iche fabi na obodo ndị ọzọ, ma ọ bụ kedu ife ndị Igbo chọrọ ma ọ bụ na ha na ndị asụsụ ndị ọzọ nọ na-emekọta ihe. Ajụjụ ahụ gbasara ndị Igbo ka esi wee nọrọ n'ime obodo a kpọrọ Naịjirịa. Anyị ji maka ya gbagide mbọ batazia etu esi wee mee ntụnye aka ịkpọta onye isi ala n'arọ gara aga bụ 2023. Onye Igbo ibi n'obodo ndị ọzọ, ibido obodo ndị ọcha, ibido obodo ndị ọzọ dị iche iche n'ime obodo ndị isi ojii. Ege ntị ka ife si mee. Ife ọ na-ewute agbammbọ ndị Igbo niile, ọ dị ka agbacha mbọ ahụ, ọ bịa na mkposa, ọ bịa na mwute, ọ bịa n'ịtụ aka n'anya, bụ na mgbe ọbụla ewelere aka ka onye Igbo batakene n'ọchịchị, were ịgba mbọ were amamihe ahụ na-agara anyị n'ebe ndị ọzọ dị iche iche, ihe ọbụla anyị tinye aka jikọ ọnụ mee ya ụda ka ndị Igbo pụtakana banye n'ime ndọrọ ndọrọ ọchịchị, gosi ihe anyị ji ndị ọzọ, ihe ọ dị ka anyị kacha ndị ọzọ wee ma ka esi eme. Mana ofu ihe bụ na ahịa anụrụ, ahịa akpọrọ ahịa Biafra na Naịjirịa, na o nwere ndị ṅụrụ iyi tinyelu enyemaka ndị ọcha bụ ndị chịbụrụ anyị, na ndị ọzọ gbakọrọ ọnụ dechaa akwụkwọ zoo ezo si na onwero ka onye Igbo banye n'ọchịchị nke onye isi ala ganye n'orue mgbe ha kweta, ndị Igbo ga-aghọta na okwu a miri emi, maka na a na-atụ n'ilu na onye na-anọrọ ebe e niri mmadụ asị ya bọọ ya bọpụta ya, ọ ga-ebido n'ụkwụ. Ife na-enye anyị nsogbu, amamihe anyị na ịgba mbọ na ịga n'iru, ọ bịazịa n'ihe ndọrọ ndọrọ, anyị amarọ eji ikwu okwu idebi etu o si wee baa n'okpuru. Ndị Igbo amarọ abanye n'ime obi kpaa nkata zochie ya ka ndị asụsụ ndị ọzọ. Ndị Igbo kwucha ha n'okwu, ha bọkapụ ya. Anyị na-ada ụda, anyị yi akwa nke anyị ada aga n'ebe ada afụ anyị. Ife gbasara ndọrọ ndọrọ ọchịchị iji wee were nwayọọ gosi na onye Igbo ijere aka gị kpọọ onye ọzọ onye nzuzu. Ife ọ ga-eme bụ o gosi gị ka nzuzu si emebi ihe. Ya bụ na ihe ndị Igbo chọrọ ebe niile, ma ndị nọ n'iro ma ndị na-abata n'obodo anyị nwa bụ ndị bi n'ime Naịjirịa, bụ kedu ka anyị ga-esi megide ka ofu onye bụ onye Igbo chikene. Wee na-asị na ife dị mkpa bụ etu ọ na-agụ anyị agụụ, etu anyị si anụ ọgụ ya, etu anyị si abanye na ndọrọ ndọrọ dị iche iche, ati isi ebe a okwerọ, ati isi ebe okwerọ, ati isi ebe okwerọ, ka anyị kpabakene nkata etu ọ ga-esi bụ na onwe mbọsị Chineke nyere aka si na onye Igbo ga-abata were ọchịchị a, ka onye ahụ hapụkwa ịda, ka onye ahụ hapụ imekwa ajọ omume, ka onye ahụ mekwa ọfụma. Onwe onye kwu okwu n'ikpeazụ sị na onye ga-enwe agamniru karịchaa ma onye Igbo chiba ma bụ ndị Igbo, ka anyị wepụkwu ya. Ọ dịkwa mkpa na onye Igbo banye n'ọchịchị ka a hapụ ịbụkwa ekesacha ọghọm abalị ndị Igbo. Ya bụ na ebe ọ bụ na onye Igbo nọ na-akpa nkata, ị na-eme ihe na-aga n'iru, okwu bara anya ndọrọ ndọrọ ọchịchị, gee nwanne gị ntị, gee ndị ọzọ ntị, mmere omume ka gị na ndị ọzọ na-ayị, ka hapụ ịdị na-afụ anyị ka ndị ngara, ka anyị hapụ ịdị na-arụ ndị ọzọ ka ha bụ ndị nzuzu, ka ha nwee ike ịdị na-agwa anyị obi ha, ka anyị nwee ike ịdị na-enwe nchekwube obi na anyị adịrọ njọ, na anyị were ọchịchị na ya meele obodo Naijiria were sọsọ amamihe, ọ bụrụ sọ anyị nwee. So etu anyị na-adị na-atụ aka.
Okay, biko nyere anyị aka ka igbo okwu ahụ. Thank you.
Okay, ekwuchebego m, mana ofu ihe bụ na achọrọ m ikpochi ba isi ndị nọ n'ilo na ndị nọ n'ime Naịjirịa. Onye ọbụla jikọọ aka ọnụ, gbaa mbọ kpọọ Chineke afa. Ndị ya nwere interest na ndọrọ ndọrọ, ndị enwero interest n'ihe ndị ọzọ na-eme, ka anyị kpọọ ya afa, si na arọ dị etu a, ya bụrụ 2027, ya bụrụ na iwu nata bụ na anyị ga-ejikọ aka ọnụ ka onye Igbo bukene prezidenti Naịjirịa. Ka ọ dịgodo m n'ọnụ etu a. Udo dịrị onye ọbụla.
Udo dịrị gị, daalụ so much, daalụ. Ikwu ka nnọọ, okwu ga maka ọsọ kama otu si wee na-asụ n'Igbo, na-asụ Igbo na-aba n'ome na-asọ. Onye na-amụ ka esi asụ Igbo ga-ege ntị etu a, ọ ga-asị hey, kemgbe m ga-asụ ụdị Igbo a, biko. Ọnọkwa ị na-ege ndị ọzọ kakwa na-asụ, ọ na-epushu your interest, na-etinye uchu wee na-asụkwa nke gị na-aga. Okwu ga amaka so much. Biko ị ga na-abịa etinye ọnụ n'ife anyị na-ekwu. Biko onye ọbụla n'ebe a, ka m gwa unu now, anyị na-ebido ife a n'oge. Anyị abụrụ ndị na-ebido late, anyị na-ebido by 8 o'clock. Olukwa na 8 anyị ebidogo. Ịbata 8 fụ na anyị ebidogo kwugo okwu by 8. Anyị adịghị eme ife ọzọ by 8. So onye ọbụla n'ebe
abụ m onye dọkịta na o tebara aka
nsogbu adịrọ. So what do I watalo? I dey keep to time. So I bido 8. Ka we week in emechi n'oge. I actually emechi by 10, but because na ndị mmadụ abatara n'oge, anyị ga-enye obere chance ka ndị fọrọ kwụsị okwu dị na anyị jize nwayọ mechie kwuzie maka ife a ga-eme next week. I ga na-eme ife every Saturday. Mana ka anyị gaa n'iru now. Daalụ so much again. Daalụ. Agụ Paul. Agụ, ị chọrọ ikwu something about ife anụnwa ajụjụ anụnwa. Ngwa gaa n'iru.
Yeah, yes, thank you. Ekwetere m na ihe niile nwanne anyị kwuru na ihe ndị Igbo na-achọ ụkwa ihe ndị ọzọ na-achọ ịmago ịma ndị Igbo na-azụ onye riwe anụ ihe ele onwe ya na-akpọ ya nyetụ nwoke ibe na ihe na-alụ nwoke ibe ya. So the same thing anyị na-achọ ka ndị ọzọ na-achọ, mana ọ bịakwara na-adị m ka o nwere ihe ọzọ anyị na-achọ tụkwapụtụrụ iche. You know, at basic level, I chọrọ ka Nigeria gaa n'ihu, ka obodo dị mma, ka ndị ntọgharị na-atọrọ mmadụ, ka ị gaa n'ụlọ ọgwụ adịrị, ụzọ adị mma. Mana ọ bịa na-adịtụkwa m ka o nwere ihe ọzọ anyị na-achọ na-awụchaghị ihe ndị ibe anyị na-achọ, and ya dị m ka what we really want is not an advance. Ịma anwe ihe ndị na-asụ oyibo asị na politics is about who gets what, when, and how. It's about allocation of opportunities and resources. Yana dim ka ihe ọwụcha ihe aka ndị Igbo na-achọ. Just ihe onye Igbo na-achọ biri ka mbiri, level playing field. Ihe dị ka nke otu a na-ekwu ndọrọ ọchịchị ma president ma gịnị. Ọ dịkwanụ m ka ndị Igbo na-achọ ka ha nweta ọchịchị nwere power. Ọ dị m ka power ka ndị Igbo na-achọ. Ihe onye Igbo chọrọ wụ ka ọ dịkwa ka o so na ihe a na-eme. Onye mekwere mgbe m kwuru okwu na ọwụ na onye Igbo chịwa na Nigeria, ndị ga-eri uru ya karịcha akwụkwọ ndị Igbo, because we are not wired to gain from government. It's not what we are looking for as a people. But ihe ha ji na-adị ka ndị Igbo na-achọ ọwụ not power. They just want to belong. Dịka otu m jere na be anyị na otu ala Igbo si dị na onye ọbụla nwere na-atụnye okwu ọnụ. Enweghị ike abịa n'ụmụnna onye ọbụla na-etinye okwu ọnụ. So ọ na-adị m ka ihe anyị chọrọ awụchahụ power. We want political participation and then economic freedom, because we are prepared to compete. Ndị Igbo na-achọ ịma ndị ọzọ nwere ike dịka otu esi ndị mmadụ ghọta ihe gbasara ọchịchị na ihe gbasara nọ inweta ya gị nye nwanne gị contract, gị nye nwanne gị asọ ịma gị nweta opportunity. Ọ dịkarịcha m ka ya ihe ndị Igbo na-achọ. Ihe ndị Igbo just chọrọ wụ generally ama na nwekwara ndị ofeke ndị na-just ka ọchara ọcha ha achagbute, and which is one of the problems anyị nwere n'ala Igbo, because mgbe mbụ icheke n'ala Igbo na-ele ụdị ndị na-achị anyị ndị wụ the best. Azikiwe, Michael Okpara, Ke Ombadiwe, Sam Mbakwe, the people who were the best. In fact, Eastern Nigeria House of Representatives, Medical Professor Ninjoku was a member of that house. The best. But always in ndị amị bịara abịa chịwa ọchịchị, ya dịzị ka ọwụ ndị ịmago ndị ofeke, ndị ya na ha mere oyi, ha wee kpatajuo ego, then ruo mgbe ndị amị na-ala, ọtụtụ n'ime ha ewere bazie politics. Ya ozi mgbe ndị Igbo ndị ma ihe na ndị anya dị mma anọrọzie n'akụkụ, ya wụrụzi ndị agavu na ndị jagwuda banyeziri na politics. Mana ọkwa na anyị bido dị ihe anyị na-eme ugbu a na-abido n'aha na-esi our best, because the truth na o nwere structures Igbo nwere other people name, just like what we are doing now. Ebe ọbụla ndị Igbo ebe m nọ na ebe ọbụla ị nọ na, if you are in the UK, them ebe ọbụla ị ga na-enwere Igbo association. These are structures no other community, no other people nwere. Town unions. I can now in 2 days they will contact every person from your community, not in the diaspora. Name community projects. So I want to structures I get you with Libo that we have not really taken advantage of, especially the town union system, engine of growth, which in Igbo used to go before in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. So yana dem ko hendi akibo choroke edozi ko obodo. Ihe dizie mana aga ni onye ọbụla pụta na contribute. So that's my view of what I think we are looking for as Igbo people. We want what others want, but somehow I think we just want political participation and economic freedom. Thank you.
Enwere m ajụjụ. Ọ bụ na onye isi ogbe a ga-ekwe m ka m jụọ gị ofu ajụjụ.
Biko,
Ganiru.
ọ na-ama azanwu.
Biko, ajụjụ m na-ajụ bụ
Yes, sir.
Imirikiti atụmatụ ị na-atụ bụ mkpakọta uche ị nwere maka na ibi n'obodo ndị dozigoro edozi, obodo ndị ọcha. Ọ dị gị ka mgbe ị na-ekwu okwu ikwugide okwu rụtụ aka na ndị elele bụ ndị oru, wee kwuo ka esi wee megide ndị oru gbakọta onwe ha ọnụ gaa nwee ebe ha nwe n'obodo Amerịka ma ọ n'obodo ndị UK. Ọ dị gị ka eme ka obodo anyị bụ Naịjirịa ebe anyị si wee konye pụọ obodo ndị ọzọ, onye Igbo bido chiba echefu agha Naịjirịa na Biafra. Ọ dị gị ka ndị Igbo ọ ga na-achọrịrị Biafra inwere onwe ha, ịnọrọ onwe ha, ka ọ ga-ebenata? Ọ ajụjụ m chọrọ ịjụ.
Thank you. Ama azakwa na ajụjụ ahụ n'eziokwu na obi ọcha niile. Odo ama m na enwere ụmụnne anyị ndị nọ ebe a laikere ihe gbasara ma ọ Biafra ma ọ gịnị nke m enweke za ya ewute because ihe m ga-ekwu awụ otu na si ghọta. Ma ịzakwa na ajụjụ ahụ iju onwe anyị kedu ihe wụ Biafra, gịnị kpatara Biafra nke mbụ so mgbe Nigeria bidoro onwekwenu mgbe ndị Igbo chọrọ Biafra. Look, there are in the British archives, I read documents, including reports written by Macpherson, confirming that Igbos contributed to unity of Nigeria, and that the unity of Nigeria, or the Nigerian Nokono, was Nandi Bohotere as something strategic to their economic survival. That is the truth. Biafra and Kembo and the mother here Biafra was to preserve the life as the last resort. Till the last moment when the Aichoro Kalu. In fact, one of the things to Odumego Juku say Yaji Yabaharu Weyawona. Mgbe Kembo na May 1966, ndị Bible so lọta si hatachi. Nke ọzọ mepe na July ya si lachi until September, May. And he felt guilty. They asked to her, say, go back because of unity of Nigeria. On one September, the third wave was when he came and he told them, I can no longer guarantee your safety in any other part of Nigeria, now Eastern Nigeria. They were long Kembo, Emeria. Mgbe gbakọrọ ọnụ mgbe ndị ọkpụrụkpụ mmadụ na-achị Biafra emeriri anyị. Mgbe emeri anyị pụtakwa tinyekwa aka na Nigeria, mana ihe adịwakwa otu a. So before in the 80s, 90s, I ekwukwe ha okwu Biafra. Ọ mgbe a nọgidekwere ya dịka a na-emegbu ndị Igbo, megide ndị Igbo, ndị Igbo asịkwa ma ha ga-apụ. So ịjụọ m, ọ bụrụ na enye onye Igbo ọchịchị ya achị otu ibe ya si chịa, abịa mee Q ma ọkwa mee unnecessary impeachment ma onye ya abịa, ọ na-adị m ka ihe a ga-ebelata maka na ihe onye Igbo chọrọ wụ ka ọ dị ka ọ nọ na ihe a na-eme. Oh, he doesn't want power. He doesn't even know how to use power. That's absolute power. That is the truth. Even when we managed to become the most powerful political and economic force in Nigeria in the 50s and 60s, as he were when every opportunity of prime minister, but he had to concede it away. He got on power also so much. So ọ na-adị m ka eme ya ihe ga-ebelata tụ na ịkpọkọta okwu. Ọ bụrụ na eme anyị ka ọ dị ka eme nwaanyị otu emere ibe ya, obi adị ya ma ndị Igbo na-ekwu n'ilu atụ n'ilu. Eme nwaanyị otu emere ibe ya, ọkwa ihe ndị Igbo na-achọ. Ọwụ nọ ka ọ dị ka ha ji pawa, ka ọ dị ka onye ahụ sokwe nọ n'otu ibe ya shidoro. Ọwụ na-eme ya ọ na-adị m ka ihe ga-ebelata tụ.
Good. Ihe ị ga-eje chekie ka m kwụsịzie bụ n'ime obodo ndị ọzọ biche n'obodo ndị ọcha, chekie ndị ọka atọ, ndị ka atọzi, maka na ọ na-enye nsogbu ndị dị iche iche, ma ọ bụ ndị Igbo na-aka atọ n'obodo ndị ọzọ ma ha kawa nka onwe ka ọnwụ si dakwu ha ada anata n'Igbo bifo mgbe mbụ onye Igbo ọbụla nwụrụ na obodo ndị ọzọ iwu bụ na a ga-eme gịnị na isi onye Igbo
na-atọ na mba nke mba
so mana a na-emebizie a na-emebizie ihe ndị ọzọ bụ maka na gịnị na obodo anyị a na-achụ anyị ọsọ ndị ọzọ bụ ndị asụsụ ndị ọzọ na-achụfu anyị achụfu egwu a na-atụ anyị ịnabata n'obodo a ọnya ka m ji sị gị na ọchịchị dị mkpa mana onye Igbo were ọchịchị ya were akụ na uche gosi na ala Igbo ndị Igbo ga-enwe elele ya kachifonu.
Okay, Dalunu so much. Dalunu so much. Let me just use one word ndị Igbo na-ekwu to cover to back up what Agụkwulu. Egbebelu, ugobelu, nke si ibe ya ebena, nkukwaya. Live and let live. This is what the Igbo stand for. Even if an Igbo man becomes president, the same thing. Onye ọbụla ga-enwete ofu ife anwa. Mana ka m ghara ijide mic a nnukwu maka anyị ga-emechi now. So Felix, anyị ga-anụ onu gị now. Anyị nụsi onu gị. Then Daniel Abata nye anyị his opinion about ife ndị Igbo chọrọ briefly. I need imechi as soon as possible, as quickly as possible, because time anyị agafego already. Mana anyị ga-continue next Saturday. Kwuo ife ọzọ mma gwụ na ife a ga-ekwu next Saturday. Mana like m ife ka Agụpọs wee weta okwu weta tụọ okwu nwa n'aka tụọ ya aka somehow. M ga-agwụ na ife mmiri by that. Ngwa Felix gaa n'iru. Daalụ.
Good evening everybody. Nnekene onye ọbụla na-ebe a. Like ebidolo m this thing n'isi. Just join ya, but anụgo m for the like ihe bụ the topic. So ihe m nwee itinye bụ na mwa as in ihe na-eme m as onye Igbo mbụ bụ na like m na-enwegodi that confidence godo. Normally never onye ọzọ na-ekwugodo okwu. Adị m atụ ụjọ like mmadụ ebe ajụ m na maybe ebe ndị ọzọ nọcha. A na-ekwu okwu maka tribe. Mwa ya apụta bụ the fana m abụgodo ezigbo nwa afọ Igbo. Adị m atụ onye ọbụla ụjọ. Then another thing, if you I feel like this is just my own opinion. Ihe ndị Igbo need more sharp. Normally I go to United, I follow one anya, but I need na Nigeria na adịghị eche anyị fight because Igbo nwe ndị gụrụ akwụkwọ. Onwere anyị nwe mmadụ, anyị nwe ndị gụrụ akwụkwọ. Anyị enwere ebe Igbo anọrọ, but abịazi na Nigeria na in terms of politics, anyị enwechara ọnụ that side. So I feel like na ewepụta ọ bụ na anyị ga na-emenwe this ewepụta ofu onye na anyị ma ga-emenwere anyị something. Anyị kwadie ọfụma ọkwa nke ịbịa nwebe ilu abụọ or something like that. Asị na onye ka anyị chọrọ anụ anyị akwadie onye ahụ eje anyị support ofu onye ahụ. So I feel no ihe ya ga-eme anyị na-enwetakwa na agba na Nigeria. Igbo ji ego onwere anyị enwere na politics anyị enwetala ọnụ much and so that thing I like that thing because na Nigeria na in terms of politics anyị enwetala on too much or just machine or just open like normal onye ọbụla ma ihe na-ekwu na anyị ma ndị na-achị obodo adịghị ekwedo nye anyị nwa chance and more film na I wuftekwu like I do more mean anyị enwela onye nke anyị ya n'ebe ahụ. So onye m nwasị ka ntinye ya na-ekwu that is my own opinion. Enwele m much ka nye ndị ọzọ were kabakwuo. Abịala m n'oge.
Daalụ nne okwu gị amaka. Ị ga na-ekwu etu a na-abịakwa oge ọbụla anyị bịakwa kwuo ọzọ. Onye ọba bụfụ onye ọbụla ọba bụ onye ọbụla na-etinye ọnụ wee na-ekwu okwu. Ife a bụ village square ka anyị nọ now. And anyị ga na-eme etu a. Anyị ga-ebido kịta wee kpochie okwu anụwa wee mechie okwu a. So anyị elugo the end of this conversation and let's hear from the co-hosts, their closing shots, and then Casey Ayemechi. Ngwadora, ị nọ nso? Achọrọ m ka mmadụ bịa ebe anụ asị na a na-waste time. So anyị ga na-egbu ya nke move. Next week abịakwa ọzọ gbukwu ya nke move ọ na-aga because nkata ga-agata aka. Ọ ya agata aka ife a ga-ekwu erika. Ife a ga-ekwu karị akarị. In fact, Now, our next conversation is about our language. Asụsụ Igbo. Anyị ga-akpọ nkata maka asụsụ Igbo. Onye maalụ maka asụsụ Igbo ọfụma, ọsụkwa ya bụ prọfesọ, ọsụkwa ya bụrụ lekchọra, ọsụkwa ya bụrụ onye na-ede ede, ọsụkwa ya bụrụ onye na-akụzi na soshal midia ọ na akwụkwọ. Pụta onye a ka ọ bịa gwa anyị ife ọma maka asụsụ Igbo, ife a ga-eme asụsụ Igbo. Anyị afụgo na asụsụ Igbo part of our identity. So anyị nwere problem na language anyị. Ka ife a ga-eme ya, ka a ga-esi wee mụta Igbo. Ndị na-enwe challenge ka a ga-esi wee sụnwa Igbo. Kedu ife a ga-eme ka a wee nwee ike ịmụta Igbo faster? Ndị nke kwado na-achọkwanụ ka ụmụ fa mụta Igbo mana ọkwarọfa ka ife a ga-eme. How far ka anyị gagolo asị ndị Igbo n'ịmụta asụsụ Igbo? Because o nwere oge e kwuru some years ago na asụsụ Igbo is going extinct. Mana ana m wonder ma anya reverse go that possibility or that probability ka ọ ka na ọ gakwa etu awa. Ife a ka anyị ga-etinye anya na ya next week. Kwuo ya ọfụma nenesia ya, then chọzie solution ife anyị ga-eme gbasara ya. So etu a ka ọ ga-adị. So tinye anya just na-ene anya na watch mark ya somewhere, tinye na your calendar every Saturday 8 p.m. anyị nọ n'okwu a The Money Show. Ekwusie nke anwa ekwukwa ọzọ na-aga like that. Ngwa ndị otu anyị ngwa unu kwuo ka anyị mechie. Honorable Ador, ọ bụ na ị nọrọ ya n'elu ngwa biko. Casey, are you there?
Yeah, I want much. Sorry, ikwu just achọrọ m ekene onye ọbụla bịara nọ ndị tinyere ọnụ, ndị nọrọ nọ just na-ege ntị n'ụdalụnụ mere ọfụma. The conversation continues, it doesn't end. Tata anyị bido know ka anyị mara ndị anyị bụ, ka anyị understand the onwe anyị ọfụma. Then it helps us too, in some of our endeavors, ihe niile anyị chọrọ n'ụwa, some of our dreams and aspirations. Because first you have to know yourself before you can know what you want for yourself. So onye ọbụla tell thank you so much. Ndị niile n'ebe and making onye ọbụla. So next week we continue the conversation. Okay, next week is not important because language asụsụ anyị one of the most important things. So for me personally, I'm so much interest because actually made me improve my Igbo speaking. Whether it's me, whether it's my wife, my kids, all the very, very important to me. Again, all part of that identity I need. So I look forward to next week, and I think I got no more interesting.
Nello.
All right. So for me, this identity thing, personally as Oyibo, I've had to ask myself a couple of questions, and sometimes some of these things are unconscious, immoral, but you start shedding, you start taking up other people's identity, and you start losing a lot of who you are. And some of the ways that these things happen is, maybe it's the way you dress. Afugomo ebonyi Igbo na wedding. If you na groom ya Igbo agbada. Now say, why would you do that? Election maybe not just fashion, but it goes beyond that. You have to take up your identity in everything that you do. Personally now, always certain, even mana language, some of the slangs that you take up or brasusundos, so you have to consciously make sure that even mana slang na everything, you propagate your own culture. Obuno way is slang that your people they use Zoya. Instead of I try to miss but just be conscious of these things because these are the way that you can take up space, you can take up you can show that you're proud of your identity, through slangs, through your dressing, and wherever you are, just propagate that person that you are Nibo. Osinde Madu, that you are Onibo. And I just want to implore us as we go out today and you go about your daily business, be conscious of the slangs that you use, be conscious of the way that you dress, and always make sure that in everything that you do. And as please try. There's no shame in from Ita small more and the little Okwa can see they team together. That's squad. Thank you so much, Chuka, for including me because before this space gaga like a year or two, Ngabia made a whole submission, in Igbo, and that's a challenge. Thank you.
He say, I love your courage. Honestly. I'm with him today. If you name I'm something from you today. See, you will fell when so if I want to if you're gonna draw me for the important to me. Or the mumpa, watching the mad on Ketty. Mana next week, I give Kwamaka Shemi now. I give Quiffany Nene Man. I had associate from I get any I get never if any nanya. I wear we king yellow wanyaka. We push your language. Mako, as a swine, I so. And me to go on the Navarondi many places. Hana like it, Hana so much because na like a line. So if I important, okay, you like a laugh, yeah. Okay, you like a make business. Okay, you look in other areas it's important. Eventually, kuna abuna ibu entertainment. Never in a tiegu, in a movie, in a poetry. If about entertainment, arts, because find a way to use it to promote our identity. That is what is called branding. Find a way to promote our culture. Find a way to promote Ife Jimalwani. This is the reason why flavor is extremely relevant. Flavor is one of the voices, one of the subtle voices of Ndibo. On a mere subtly but consciously and deliberately driving our identity, driving our brand all the time. On a Omegia, Ndi also like is our culture more because of Ufonia. Many Africans from Africa, Mamdibo, Maka flavor. And there's about flavor boni kuniru. The same thing with Chimamanda. She has been promoting the Igbo identity, brand, and culture since Obiro Gayaleba, since Obiro Debi Ifenaoko. This is a conscious thing, and it's a responsibility for every person born Igbo. Whenever you're positioned in a strategic place or status, understand being a responsibility to drive your identity, your people. Because when you do that, you leave a legacy. When you do that, you leave an impact that will outlive you. But not just that. Just like I think it was Daniel or Agu Kulifa. Recognize Yafa. They can say because of what they did 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago. Just imagine that. This is what everybody wants. So ever can game it too much. Now if go so much, and this has been a very, very interesting conversation. I thank you everyone here for coming. Hey Franny, Mary White, Onye Dekachi, Onyiroka, okay, Casey, Felix, Ngozi, Pacific, Dr. Ejike,
Chinenye has been here.
Chinenye. If I did mention your name, I come out for again. If I say I got somehow na space here na screen ndi mmadụ dị iche iche mana afụrụ m onye ọbụla na ebe and your presence matters. Whether you spoke or you listened, thank you for being part of this conversation. We hope that you will join us again next Saturday. Kaina aso maka asụsụ Igbo. Tell everyone you know bụ onye Igbo. Mandi bi na yard unu, mandi office unu. Gwafa bịa join ya in this conversation. Ọ na-eme na Kunie Media on Twitter Space. And I na-emekwa na Facebook and YouTube on live stream. Our aim is to drive this conversation ka o wee luo onye ọbụla ebe ọbụla onye Igbo nọ, ma ọ nọ n'ime Iran, ma ọ nọ n'ime Iraq, ma ọ nọ n'ime Israel, ma ọ nọ na Europe, ma ọ bụla odumeje, ma ọ nọ na Brazil, ma Russia. Let's bring all of us together and have a conversation that is meaningful, impactful, and objective, so that I will make a forge our way forward. No matter what is going on in Nigeria, and you wiki does good in Kanye. Double wine on nodo, Kalilo no dine on Yakita. I will pour from a buying a complaint, oh governor, to a buying a me about it consciously and together. Thank you so much for your contribution and participation. We'll see you again. Anya pogo man in make cake. In make cake. So I think I rap go get cake ya dey boko. What tinyoku no ka gaba.
Thank you very, very much, Kunye Media, for what is everybody together and talking about our identity as a people. All the very important because Imakwa Onye Ibu, Imalo 2 years to follow. What I go like Nello said, we are all ambassadors of Ndi Igbo. Ebe ọbụla eje, otu ọbụla isi fu onwe gị, ebe ihe ọbụla ị na-eme, no matter what is in aka gị. Malụkwa na ime ihe ọjọọ enwude gị asị nọ Ndị Igbo. Anyị akpọzi afa gị. Anyị akpọ sọsọ gị hapụ. Ndị Igbo na family anyị nche nnọọ ka ya ka ya akpọkọnye afa anyị nche n'ime ya. Biko nụ, imekwa nke bụ ezigbo ihe Ndị Igbo kwa ka ya akpọ. Ịghọtago so Ndị Igbo bụ ndị na-agba mbọ. Ndị Igbo bụ ndị na-afụ nwanne fa n'anya. Ndị Igbo ada ya nwanne fa. Ndị Igbo bụ ndị na-ekwu eziokwu. Ndị Igbo bụ ndị na-afụ nke bụ eziokwu, kwuo nke bụ eziokwu ọkwụla ọtọ. So let's continue. Onwere ihe ọzọ dị na ya nchọ ekwu na-abụrụ ka anyị ncha gbado anya and always remember na anyị bụ ambassadors of Ndị Igbo. Thank you very much, Kunye Media. Thank you, Nello. Thank you. Onye ọbụla nọ n'ebe afọ m nchenne. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, before we go, I want to acknowledge and recognize and appreciate our team members here. Adora, Nello, KC, Amaka, Ngozi. Thank you so much. These are the people that put in all the efforts that made this possible. We are working as a team. And if you have resources you can bring into this work and conversation in terms of talent, skills, experience, and expertise, you can reach out to us. We can bring you in, see how you can help us. There's so much we can do. If I would go video now, all I got without limits, all I got beyond boundaries. All right. So dialogue so much. I see you, service culture, evangelist Priscilla. Oh, I heard that. Where evangelist is one of us too. All right, till next Saturday, same time, 8 p.m. Nigerian time. It's
the morning show.